I just want to add a little thing on the Parsha from Reb Natan. Obviously, everything I learn is from Reb Natan. In case anybody's wondering where I get it, it's from a book called Likutei Halachot, which is the student of Reb Natan. It's kind of like the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral Torah of Likutei Maharan, Reb Nachman's book. So everything you learn in Likutei Halachot is basically a translation, explanation of the Maisa. How do you actually keep everything you learn in Likutei Maharan? Because when you learn Likutei Maharan, you see it's like, if you learn it deep and go into the depth of it, you see it's really, really deep. But how do you actually apply that to yourself? So that's what Reb Natan did. He really he did a Kitzur Likutei Maharan, all the eitzas and advice that comes out of Likutei Maharan, and then his main book is this volume, this eight book volume of Likutei Halachot, which goes through the entire Torah basically. So just something on the parsha. Reb Natan says that it's very important. What's this whole idea of coming out of Egypt, and all these tests that we had when we were going through the desert. There was a lot of tests, right? We had the test of the water, that there was no water, and we had the war with Amalek, and all lots of different things that happened. The splitting of the sea, and Chazal say that it was all in the zchut of the bones of Yosef HaTzadik. So that's an important nekuda. What does it mean? It says, Hayam Ra'av Hayanos, we say in the song that we sang, right? So we say Hayam Ra'an Vayanos, and Chazal say Vayanos Vayetza Achutza. So they darshan it like Hayam Ra'a, the sea saw, and it just saw the simple meaning is that the ocean saw Bnei Yisrael, saw Yisrael, and just split open for them. But it uses the exact same wording that it uses by Yosef when he was in the test with the wife of Potiphar, where it says, where she grabbed his garment, right? Te'echoz bigdo beyada, and then it says, Vayanos vayetza achutza. That Yosef ran out quickly, but it uses the same, Vayanos vayetza. So Chazal say, Hayam ra'a Vayanos vayetza achutza. That really the entire splitting of the sea was in the zchut, in the merit of Yosef HaTzadik, which Moshe Rabbeinu was the one, while Bnei Yisrael were coming out of Egypt and collecting all the gold and silver and everything from the Egyptians. Moshe Rabbeinu was busy with doing mitzvahs and going to keep what Yosef HaTzadik made the brothers swear, that when they leave they'll take him out. And they brought Yosef HaTzadik. He brought his bones, right? So his Aaron was there, and by the way, his Aaron was always walking side by side of the Holy of Holies until they, for the whole 40 years in the desert. It was always Yosef HaTzadik's bones. So Yosef corresponds to the Tikkun HaBrit, right? The fixing of the mind. The fixing of the mind, Tikkun HaBrit, what that means basically, like the essence of it, the root of Tikkun HaBrit, is basically we made a covenant, the soul made a covenant. It says that they swear the soul before the soul comes down into this physical body in the physical world. They, the neshama of a person promises that it'll always, remember, it'll remember the Torah, it'll remember Hashem, it'll be connected, at all times. Then as soon as it comes down into the world, the angel makes it forget everything that it learned, everything that it promised, everything, when it's gone. We have no idea, well, we're wake, you open your eyes when you're a baby, you're looking around, what's going on? It's crazy the way we grow up and get so far and so far away from our purpose and what we were doing, what we were sent down onto earth to do in this whole mission, right? This hiddenness of this world that hides everything. So the soul basically promises that it'll always be, its mind, neshama will always be connected, right? That Beis Hamikdash in your head and in your heart will always be connected and be thinking of your purpose in life and be connected to Hashem. So a person who's on the level where he's always at every single moment of his life, whether he's working or whatever he's doing, he's always connected. He never forgets what he's doing on earth and what his purpose is and, what's his mission in life. That's called Tikkun HaBrit. That's the fixing of the Brit. So Yosef HaTzadik, we know he was called Yosef HaTzadik because he was basically the sphere out of all the sphirot, right? We know he's the sphere of Yesod, which corresponds to the Brit Kodesh, which is the covenant of the covenant of the mind. And like Reb Shlomo says, that Yosef HaTzadik, if God forbid he would for 1 second, stop thinking of Hashem, then Chas v'Shalom, he wouldn't be considered Yosef HaTzadik. He would have a blemish in the Yesod, in the sphere of the Yesod, and that would cause a blemish in the whole 12 tribes and everything. So Moshe Rabbeinu knows that the entire redemption of Am Yisrael, the entire splitting of the sea, and this whole thing depends on Atzmot Yosef, which is, Atzmot is bones, but it's really like the Atzmiut, the essence of Yosef, which means this concept of Tikkun HaBrit, right? So this whole coming out of Egypt and wiping out the klipot and subduing the negative force in the world and in a person's personal life, right? All the negative thoughts and bad things that a person feels about himself and so on, right? What does it depend on? It depends on Yosef HaTzadik, right? If we bring Yosef HaTzadik with us, then we'll get this full redemption from Egypt, from Paro, from all the power of the other side, the Sitra Achra. And then Bnei Yisrael, so Rav Natan's basically answering a question, why when we go into the desert, like Amalek straight away jumps on us, and then we have all these tests, like we know that the Jews in the time of the desert, they were called Dol De'ah, they were like on a very high level, like they were in 49 levels of impurity, but they slowly climbed out of these 49 levels, and came into levels of Kedusha, and even being in that place they were on a very high level because they were fixing a very high part of Adam HaRishon's sin. All the generations fixed different parts of the sin, so it goes up from the head of Adam HaRishon and it comes down all the way to the bottom where Ikvet Adam Mashiach, we're at the end, so we're fixing the heel, the bottom. That's why there's the least light. It's the furthest place away from the mind, from the head. Anyhow, so how did they fall? So Nathan says that the main reason why they fell was because, like, when a person's in this Egypt and in this, this dark space or far from Hashem, right, in this distance, right, what they call Mitzrayim, is in a Meitzar, in a narrowness, right? It's not without Gvul, like Yaakov Avinu was blessed with Nachala Bli Mitzarim, a Nachala without any boundaries, right? Like not the weekdays, but Shabbos, right? Not just Shabbos or Avodah Zarah, third meal, which is the highest, right? It's like the light, the highest. It has no boundaries whatsoever. There's no gvulot. Like that light that we spoke about, that comes down on Purim and comes down on the Yovel, the 50th year, where everything is just like all oneness. Everything becomes oneness. There's no separation, right? So that's called a Nachala Bli Mitzarim, without any boundaries. Mitzrayim is the exact opposite. Mitzrayim is the actual meitzar and the dohak and the narrowness that a person is stuck inside. So when a person is in that Mitzrayim and he's in that place where he feels far from Hashem, what happens is a person feels that, he looks at himself and he knows what he did and he feels like, I can't get close to Hashem because I know what I did, right? I feel so far, so I'm not worthy. So he comes with a type of like a humbleness, right? It's like a anava, it's humbleness, but it's a humbleness that comes from the other side. Like Rav Nachman says in the first lesson, Likutei Moharan, that the Yetzer Hara, the way he comes to you is he comes to you in garments, like he's in white garments, like he's a white angel, like as if he's the Yetzer Hatov. He comes and tells you, look, you're right, if you were holy and so on, right, so you deserve this and that, right, and the things of holiness. But you know where you are, you know what you did, you know where you're holding, so obviously you don't deserve it. And then on top of that, if God forbid a person also has, things aren't going his way in life and he's having a difficult life with finding his soulmate or with, parnasa or with, health problems or whatever, chas v'shalom. So then even more so that like gives a person that, you see, this is the reason why I'm going through these difficulties. This is why I'm suffering because of all the things that I did wrong. So this is called anava psula. This is humbleness that comes from the klipa, from the other side. So he says, even though Bnei Yisrael were Dor De'ah, were on a very, very high level, they still, because they basically grew up in Egypt, like we're talking about the generation, 210 years in the actual Mitzrayim, growing up over there, like they were, nobody was around. Maybe there was a couple of people, I don't know, that lived very long, but nobody was really out of the whole generation around that actually, didn't grow up inside Mitzrayim, right? Inside Mitzrayim. So they felt like, we were in Mitzrayim all these years. We know they were in 49 levels of impurity. So when a person's in that place where he's in such a dark space and he feels that he's so dirty and he did so many things wrong, then he feels like he's not worthy. And like the Yisurim that we said, and people on top of that also have difficulties, like we see, that's why it says they went 3 days without water, right? And what does that mean? That they're suddenly like, so Hashem's upset with me. Why isn't he giving us water? He brought us out to the desert. We finally came out of Egypt. We had all these amazing miracles, splitting of the sea. We're on our way now, and now suddenly there's no water. So Hashem's punishing us because but we did think that we're not worthy because of all of our actions, our bad actions, all of our years in Mitzrayim, in that dark space that we're in. Because of that, we're not worthy for it, and that's why Hashem is also punishing us, and He brings Amalek on us, and He brings, we go without water, and all the other nisyonos. There are lots of tests that are in this parsha. So Rav Natan says that a person needs to be very, very careful. Meaning, on one hand, person does need to have that humility and know, okay, I'm not, on the highest level. He needs to know his chesronot, his lackings, and things that he's not strong in, but he can't, God forbid, because of that, get further away from Hashem and feel like I'm not worthy to get close to Hashem. And that's what basically the Torah is teaching us about all these tests throughout this parsha, is coming to teach us that about ourselves. When a person is far from Hashem and he feels that he's far because of the things that he knows he did wrong, so he needs to be very careful not to let that bad humility, that humbleness, I don't know the exact word, but to not let that push him further away from Hashem. To realize that Hashem brought him out of Egypt, and Hashem split the sea, and we're on our way to get the Torah, and all these miracles because Hashem cares for him, because Hashem loves him. Like we said, that the splitting of the sea this thing depended on like Atik, which is like that place, the Avrachamim, of mercy of Hashem, where Hashem wants you so badly. He so badly wants you to come close and get close to Him, that He's willing to just basically bring down a light from such a high place that it has nothing to do with my actions or any action, anything I do whatsoever, good, bad. It has nothing to do with that. It's just a light of chesed and rachamim and goodness that, we taste a little bit at third meal on Shabbos, that Hashem is bringing down in order to redeem us and bring us through, out of the klipot and through the desert, away from society, into that like just desert where it's just you and Hashem, and bring you to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. And just one little nekuda before I end, because I have to go in, about the receiving of the Torah. I was thinking about today at work this idea of, like, a lot of people have this idea like the Torah is like a book that we got at Mount Sinai, right? We received this book from God, and it's, this book that I need to learn, and in the book it teaches me all the laws, right? I can do this, I can't do that. It basically is teaching me what to do. Like it's a guide, like a map, so I know how to walk in the world, b'kedusha, in holiness, and stay close to God, and be a good person, and so on, right? But that's a big, big mistake. So it hit me today. Obviously I read it many times, Likutei Halachot, in different places, but it today I got like an enlightenment of like what the Torah basically is Hashem didn't give us a book to tell us what to do and how to live our life and what we could do and what we can't do and what's pure and impure. That's not what Hashem gave us. Hashem gave us ourselves. He gave us, right? We know the Torah and Am Yisrael, it says each Yid has a letter. Each one of us has like a letter in the Torah, because it's 600,000 letters, 600,000 Ribot came out of Egypt. So each one of us has like a letter. It doesn't just mean a letter, right? A letter meaning, all the letters, like Rav Nachman says, that all the human beings, the entire creation, from beginning till the end of those 6,000 years, from Adam HaRishon until Mashiach, are all included inside the word Adam, Aleph, Daled, Mem. They're all inside. How? I don't know, but that's what he says. So it's the giving us of the Torah. I have a letter in the Torah. Am Yisrael and the Torah and Hashem is one. A Jew's neshama is a chelek eloka mimal, is mamash a part of Hashem. Zot Torah Adam ki yamut ba'oel, right? Zot Torah Adam, that this Torah is man. There's a pasuk that says, what it's coming to tell you is the Torah is actually you. In order for me to discover my inner self, who I really am, that's what the Torah is coming and teaching me. It's not a book outside of me. Again, going back to the thing of everything you learn to apply to yourself. How is this me? The Torah is actually, Hashem was giving us at Mount Sinai. He was giving every single one of us a Torah of ourselves, which means I study the Torah, I learn the Torah, I'm discovering more and more and more parts from within me. And connect that to the whole thing we said about the heart and the mind, the Beis Hamikdash, Torah, Tefillah, because it's all really one. The Torah and Tefillah is all oneness, right? The heart and the mind. So when these two come together and unify, right? That's what, meaning when I learn the Torah and I bring it into my mind and from there draw it down to my heart and it becomes one, I start becoming one with the Torah, which means I start realizing that the Torah that I'm learning is not just these amazing, Torahs and beautiful chidushim and laws and different stuff, right? Hashem gave us a book to discover ourselves, your inner powers, your inner kochot that every single person has, your full potential, right? And why? But every person got the same Torah. That's why it says that every person has a letter in the Torah. Why do we have a letter? To say like, each one of us has that specific letter. The letter is your mission in life. Every person has a different yi'ud, a different purpose why you came down here, different things that we're good at and different potentials we have and things we could develop spiritually, physically, right? Everything is elevating and fixing. So we all receive the same Torah, but each one of us is getting this book of how to discover his inner self, his inner deep potential, how to come out of everything it is that he needs to come out of and go into the, go into life and into the spirituality, the way that he needs to according to his tikkun. And that's why every person also is set up, like every person's house that he lives in, or the city or the country, it's all like that letter in the Torah. Because we know that God looked through the Torah, like we mentioned last time. He looked through the Torah and created the world, which means every setup inside the world, in every different city and all the houses and the division is all the letters of the Torah. It's all writing a huge Torah. So the reason why it's set up like that is because that's in the physical manifestation of the Torah that we got at Mount Sinai. The physical manifestation, which is this world, every person has that letter, that potential. So he needs all those circumstances in the physical world around him in order to be able to come to that full potential. So he's set up with a neighbor that pisses him off, or he's has these good friends that have good influence on him, or whatever. Every person in his different situations and circumstances and with friends and work and so on, it's set up so he can come to that full potential. One person needs to work on anger, so they set him up with someone that really bothers him all the time. Another person, patience. Now there's everyone their thing, but so the setup of the creation of the world, the physical world we live in, is basically that is the setup of the Torah. So if a person opens up his eyes in order to look, how do I come out of that Egypt? How do I get to that? To start living the Torah, meaning I need to open my eyes, like Reb Nachman says, that Hashem is giving us thousands and tens of thousands of signs in thought, speech, and action every single day, how to get close to Him. What does that mean? That means in everything physical that I see and everything around me, and I need to look, forget going down to details, look at the general stuff. I have a neighbor that bothers me. Okay, work, I have this and that issue. Family, I have this, that, right? Break down your life and take some general, just in the different, main things that you do. See what are the things that are coming and being put in your face a lot. And so then you realize that is the Torah from within the nature. Those are the Nekudat. And through that, a person could slowly start finding what is it exactly that I need to be fixing? What is it that I need to be, what's the Torah coming and teaching me? Because a lot of people don't have time to sit and learn Torah all the time. But you could learn Torah through the nature, through the creation. You can be guided if you obviously you need to learn Torah to just get those eyes to be able to see that sechel from within everything, but the creation and Am Yisrael and Hashem, everything is mamish the Torah. So the Torah, receiving the Torah Mount Sinai means I'm receiving a book on myself. I'm discovering my own inner essence. So we should be Zaycha B'ezrat Hashem to discover that inner essence and live it, and take the Torah. Remember, the Torah it's the most beautiful thing in the world, because it's not, a lot of people have this lookout on it that it's just these laws and black and white and arguments, and it's so deep and it's so beautiful, and it's like slowly you discover. That's why I love Reb Natan, my holy Rebbe. He opens up your eyes and gives you an insight on Torah, on every detail, even the ones that are the driest ones that you have no connection to whatsoever, because they don't even apply to you, because you're not a Kohen, or you're not a Levi, or because you live in Chutz La'aretz, and they apply only to Eretz Yisrael, or all kinds of stuff. And he suddenly opens up this world of shows you how everything's connected to you. There's nothing outside of you. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should be zeicher, not just come out of Egypt and go, subdue the other side and have the revelation of the splitting of the sea, but also come out and go through that desert, because we're all going through that desert. Just go through that desert and remember, we're on our way to Mount Sinai. This whole ups and downs and craziness we're going through is all just the tests we need to go through. When you go through a desert, what could you do? There's this world, right? So we're going, but we have to remember, we're going to get the Torah on Mount Sinai, that 50th level, that we're coming out for. Right? Ta'avdun et ha'elokim al Ta'avdun with a nun, it says that you'll work Hashem on that mountain. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Ta'avdun, so Rashi says, or Chazal say that the nun at Ta'avdun was a remez that on the 50th day it was hinting you were going to receive the Torah. So we should be zeicher to receive the Torah on Mount Sinai, our Torah, who we are. We should be zeicher to start learning it in a way of seeing our own essence, and from there, B'ezrat Hashem, go to Eretz Yisrael and come into the Holy Land, meaning get to our full potential of holiness, of Kedusha, which Eretz Yisrael corresponds to. Take care, guys.